I think nowadays people are beginning to see that. And I'm joined by Jonathan Portes, Professor of Economics and Public Policy at King's College London. And Jonathan, the report out today, published in the Times, suggesting that for many young people living in our big cities, the rent is as much as 40% of their disposable income. This is a massive social problem, isn't it?
That's absolutely right. Housing affordability has got much worse. We simply have not increased the number of houses, particularly in the places where people want to live and where the jobs are, in London in particular, also in the cities where you have rapidly growing firms, places like Cambridge and Oxford, for example. And to make housing more affordable for young people, we need to build more houses. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, but we're caught in this extraordinary position where net migration is running at hundreds of thousands every year. We're not even building enough homes to cope with current levels of migration in the year to come, let alone the enormous backlog. So where do we go with this?
Well, I think there's a general consensus that the reason, and remember, lots of countries have high levels of immigration. Lots of countries don't have the same type of housing crisis we have. And indeed, some places in the US, which have high levels of immigration and rapid population growth, Houston, for example, have actually managed to bring house prices and rents down by building houses. The problem in the UK is fundamentally twofold. First of all, and most important, a very restrictive housing and planning system that doesn't let people build houses. And second, of course, that the government hasn't built any social housing for the best part of 30 years to speak of.
Yeah, this point about social housing is something that I hear more and more going around the country. Something like 1.25 million people on the waiting lists for social housing. Surely that's something that government, working with some of the big developers, surely that's something that we could deal with pretty quickly.
Absolutely, we could deal with it if there's the political will. The fact is politicians, and I think this is true of all parties, have failed to have that political will over the last, as I say, it's not just this government who've made it worse, but that was also true to some extent over the last government. There just isn't the political will to get together, to free up the land that you need, to put in the investment, to allow councils to borrow money to build houses, and to drive that through, sometimes in the face of local opposition, particularly from people, from NIMBYs, as it were, people who don't want building in their neighborhood.
Yeah, I have to say, I don't see this getting better anytime soon. Jonathan Portes, thank you for joining me again on the program.
Thank you.
Now, one of the elements here of